for the
Okay.
world.
Welcome to Misfits.
Oh, we haven't had our cups for 2 episodes
They're
now.
right there.
We usually
forgot.
cheer our cup in.
Cheers.
But
Yes, we do.
Last one we didn't do it either. I don't know why.
I don't remember.
On location, it's tough to get them out. On location,
There's
set up.
that
It's
big
really
backpack
hard.
over there with the stuff in it. So we just like, it's hard.
sad.
On location is difficult.
It is very hard.
I mean, we were in front of Nectar last week. No.
Like the juice shop?
Couple
Yeah.
weeks
Or the
ago.
smoothie place?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Why wouldn't
Cars
you
going
record?
by, people walking under the camera. It was, We were just kept talking
That's
away.
hysterical.
Yeah. So,
The reflection in the window behind us, you probably
Yeah.
can't even see it, but it's
yeah,
okay.
it's fun. It's good. We're the Misfits. And, we live up to that. So
Do you have a jingle?
Oh, we have a little bit of a jingle.
What
that
is it?
We don't have a
starts the-
jingle?
Yes, we do. It's the thing.
We have a jingle?
Well, it plays before the.
Well, that's just a
comes out.
song.
No, like
But
you
we
have
need
like
like
a
No.
welcome to the Misfits. You
No.
fit right in.
I think we should use that one though. It's recorded. We'll just have Allie in the background now every time going, welcome to the Misfits.
We don't actually, but we could have. We could do that.
We could.
We are going to have a retreat.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did wisdom back in December, and we went to where my mom lives, which is Brays Island. It's like this.
I don't know. It's a really...
It's like in the middle of the woods, and there's hunting and fishing and golf and all kinds of stuff. So everybody's retired. Almost everybody's retired. So we went and we interviewed them about wisdom. We talked about, what advice would you give to younger women? Like, what would you say? And so we went around and they all talked. And then we came back and we did Tammy's daughter and a bunch of young girls and did the same thing.
Cute.
And they said, could we please get together? And so Tammy and I decided we were going to have a retreat, and we were going to have
generational
like
retreat.
speed dating with put older woman with younger woman and say, okay, you got 10 minutes, and then we're going to slide over and you got to talk to the next person.
Oh, I
We're
love
gonna have
this
questions.
so much.
Yeah.
And it was because the older ladies were like, we really would love to share this with them, but like we can't find these younger girls.
Right.
And then the younger girls were saying the same thing. Like, we'll go into a church and it'll be our age, moms, like the middle.
Yes.
But like really genuinely older grandmas that like could
Like,
give
could
them
say
wisdom.
something.
And we
Right.
were like, we're the middle people just going to institute.
We're going to do that. Well, and they were like, also, like, there was so much, like, both sort of admitted that we have so much to learn from each, right?
Yeah.
Like, the older women were like, I would just like to understand, like, what they're dealing with and how they're dealing with it. And what's it like to raise kids? It's so different. So it was fun.
I feel like one of the number one questions I get from younger girls is, who is an older woman that can disciple
Yes,
me?
right.
And I
Exactly.
think there's a real need. We've kind of lost that. But think about that's how villages used to be set
Yes,
up. Is
exactly.
every generation of women poured into the next one.
Right.
And we've kind of lost that in a lot of ways.
For sure.
Very
And that's
cool.
what we were trying to do. We ended up, I think in our history, we were doing Bible study, disciple group together. And then it was sort of like all these young girls are asking us, and I'm saying, what are you saying? And she's saying, what are you saying? And so we thought, we're going to put it out there.
I love it.
Well, and ours has predominantly been women in business.
Okay.
Like, as both of us,
For sure.
that's been
For
a
sure.
big trajectory for us is our work
Yes.
life.
Yep.
And that work-life balance, which you hear that word as a Christian, as a woman, as,
How do you do all of
how
it?
do you do all that? That's kind of what started it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this generational retreat will be more of just
Fun. It'll just
life.
be more fun.
Yeah,
Yes,
life.
it'll be more
So,
fun.
yeah.
But,
So that's fun.
yeah, so we're
love
excited
that.
about it. Yeah, so you can come.
Thank you. I would
yeah,
love to come.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Where do I fall in it? How young are we talking?
Oh yeah, you're like, we were talking about the generations before. The kids were asking me the other day. They were like, so baby boomers, and then we were like, then there's Gen X, which would have been me. Then there's millennials. Then there's Gen Z, which would be my daughter. Now we're at Gen Alpha, Gen Beta.
Yeah.
So you'd be a
I'm a
millennial.
millennial.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're like, you would cover.
Like I'm young-ish. I
Yeah.
feel. I feel like I'm
Yes.
not young anymore.
Right,
Yeah,
Which is
I know,
right.
but you'd have a lot
Crazy.
to say.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot
It'd be
to
Just
great.
say.
like I would want to soak up the
The-
sages.
Right.
The
Yes.
last retreat I went to, they called the older women the sages.
Love it.
Oh, I like that.
Um,
That's a good idea.
And then they ended up over time because the younger kids were called, or kids, the younger people were called the young guns. So the older people started calling themselves the rusty pistols like a little
that's
old,
just-
but we still
right,
got it.
right.
That's
And
hysterical.
yeah, but I always, if I'm anywhere, conference, ministry, retreat, anything, I am looking for the oldest woman
Yeah,
in the room,
right.
and I am sitting next to her, and I am saying, "How did you get there?" Because
yeah.
I want to get there. I want my family to love me. I
Right.
want them to love the Lord, and I want to still be in ministry.
Right.
How do I do that? you
that.
know,
Right.
And
Right.
because it's important.
Oh yeah, and you need a mentor. I mean, you can't do it by
For
yourself.
sure.
I mean, it's all about the community thing. So, anyway, we have Atlee Parsons, who's like
Yes.
the Oprah of 1122.
Please.
So she's on every podcast they do. She has her own Neighbors podcast, which I listened to your interview with Joel. Oh my gosh!
Did you know him beforehand?
No.
Do you know Joel Munamale? Okay, he's a theologian.
Yeah.
He works for Proverbs 31, which is Lisa Turker's women's ministry. Isn't he incredible?
Oh my gosh! He made me want to just like squeeze out the information he has. Like, you asked really good questions of him.
Well, I could have talked to him
Yeah.
for 4 hours. He is, because he's so smart. He just came out with this book called The Unseen Battle, and he's unpacking like the Tower of Babel, the 4 wars in Genesis. I mean, these are things that I've never really
Right.
scratched the surface
Right.
of, but he has a way of doing it and then communicating it for the ordinary person.
Like he was talking about like every sin has an origin, right? And the sort of the sex trade and the Nephilim and the
Nephilim.
What
Yeah.
did I
What'd you say? The Nephilim? What'd you say?
the Nephilim, yeah.
What are they called?
Nephilim, yeah.
What are they?
Nephilim. Those are the guys that are like half angels.
Oh,
half-
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And he's talking about like the men, you know, the dads selling their children to them and you know, and I'm like
crazy.
Like who like I don't know why that's the one that hit me, but like I was just
trade.
No,
Yeah,
but I
you
mean
are.
it was just like, oh my gosh, like who thinks it like
Yeah.
like I don't like you're saying. I mean there's just so much there. It was so cool.
No,
and
no, I have to
and
watch
then
it.
he talked about like the first temple literature and the second temple literature
Yes.
and the reason they don't explain stuff in the Bible is because, you know, that was part of their culture and they didn't have to. Like,
it, right.
anyway, it was very cool.
He just posted something yesterday. He's in the grocery store with his daughter, unpacking the theology, the question of did Jesus go to hell on Saturday
yeah.
before Easter? And I just commented like, of course, you're
Yes.
unpacking theology in the grocery store with your daughter.
Right.
That's just who he is. Like he's just a normal guy. Anyway, he's incredible.
Does he live here?
No, he lives in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, that was a great interview.
Thank
should listen
you.
to that.
Yes,
Anybody
for
should
sure.
listen to that. We'll put that in the show notes. Yeah.
Oh, link it.
You know, we're so.
We always say that and then we always forget to
Oh
do
no,
it.
me too. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll get a text. It's always my dad who catches it. You said you'd put this book title in the show notes. Oh my God, that was 40 minutes
Yeah,
earlier in the
right, yeah.
conversation. I definitely forgot.
We say it all the time and then I'm like, we don't ever
Put
do
that in
it.
the show
never
notes.
do it.
We should put that in the show notes. So, anyway, you are our legend to speak to joy because you're always so happy.
Wow. I'm not, but thank you.
You are no, you are. You like we talked a lot about in our lesson session last time, which was last week, about like joy is being rooted. Like you're rooted in joy. Like it's a gift from the Lord, right? And it just comes out of you. It's not a feeling. And so we were talking about that, and so I think you're perfect for that.
Well,
so
thank you. I'm
yes.
honored.
So give us a little bit of your story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to? You want me to go
Yeah,
all the way back?
no, we-
I was
Yeah.
born a baby.
I
Yeah.
was born a baby. I grew up in Jacksonville, and I am the youngest of 3 girls, and obviously, like my parents' favorite, so that helps with my prone to joy. No, we grew up in church. I wouldn't say my parents were super following the Lord at the time. They are now all in for sure. But they wanted us to grow up in church. And so I met Jesus in 5th grade at like a church leadership retreat I was a part of in 5th grade. And I got baptized in 7th grade. And I knew at that point that Jesus was my Lord and Savior. And I could articulate the gospel, the whole thing. But I am a 3 on the Enneagram, which I don't know if you ever talk about the Enneagram on here. Surely, yeah. Which is the achiever. So a lot of like our motivation as 3s are achievements and accomplishments, all of that. And so I loved to just be in charge of things. So, I mean, I was found in clubs since like age 6. And I remember actually truly the first club I ever started was I heard about drugs, like Hugs Not Drugs at school for the first time. I came home and started an anti-drug club and I walked around my neighborhood collecting names and phone numbers. And like what I was going to do with their phone numbers, I had no idea.
And people just gave them, right?
And they just gave them. And I will never forget. And I passed the house all the time because my parents still live in the house that I grew up in. This one family, they were a Catholic family, 6 kids. And I went to her house and the kids are like running around and I asked her to sign up for my club and she wouldn't sign it. Because she couldn't guarantee that her kids would never do drugs. And I'm like, seriously, in 3rd grade?
Yeah.
Right. And I remember being so upset that this woman wouldn't sign up for my club. I'll just never forget. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, why would she not just sign the club? Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm a kid. Yeah, right.
Anyway, so I just loved being involved in everything. Like anything I could be involved in, I was. And so as I was following the Lord through high school, I was super plugged into my school. I was class president and captain of the soccer team, just extremely involved. And
What school did you go to?
I went to Ponte Vedra High School.
Oh, you're
So I went to Nice for 1 year and then they opened Ponte Vedra my sophomore year. And that whole time, I think I was kind of just building my life around success and achievement and what other people thought of me. Because I just loved being like the girl in charge of things and a leader. And I loved all those names. And I didn't really party, but I would like go to parties because I still wanted to be like cool. But I'm the church girl too,
Right, yeah.
And through a series of events, like a bad breakup, I got injured in soccer, so I couldn't play in college. My dad got in a really bad ski accident. I think I just had this season of my identity breaking and realizing that Jesus was a part of my identity, but he wasn't the whole thing, which actually makes him then not a part of it at all. And when all that kind of came crashing down, I just let loose a bit. Like I decided, you know what? I've spent so much time trying to keep it all together. I'm just going to like see what it's like to taste
On the other
world.
side, yeah.
So I went to college. I went to Clemson and I joined a sorority and had a lot of fun in college, but also just made a lot of decisions that were not a decision that someone following the Lord would make. And it just led to a lot of shame and brokenness. And I would just stuff it down with more achievements, like more clubs I can join.
Yeah.
President of my sorority. How many like awards and cords can I wear around my neck at graduation? And when I graduated college, I was a business major and I moved to New York to be in sales. And I could not make friends in New York. And I'm extremely extroverted. I had no trouble making friends my whole life. And I joined like a random kickball team. I was going to these like mixers at these restaurants for young professionals.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't meet people. I was super plugged into a church. I was on a volunteer team responsible for connecting people to community. And I was totally starved and lonely.
Wow.
It was the first time I ever experienced any form of depression. Extreme loneliness. I remember my mom calling me and saying like, just go for a walk outside. And I was like, I literally can't go for a walk outside. And I'm generally like
up and
a joyful person. While we're talking about joy, I really am like a glass half full, like idealistic kind of person. So those were all really new feelings for me. And it was in that dark night of the soul season that God totally captured my heart. And it was the first time I felt like I laid down this false confidence I had been carrying and picked up a gospel confidence of, I can be confident. Like I have this loud, bold personality, not because of who I am, but how God wants to use me. And then that totally changed the game for me. And that was almost 12 years ago. And so ever since then, I think I've been walking in that.
The time frame that happened.
Yeah.
Like you're in New York, things aren't going well. Like was there a specific instance or a moment that like flipped the switch for you?
Yeah, I had lived there for about 6 months. And honestly, I was at just the darkest part of that season. And I went to this small group. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try another new small group. And it had to have been my 6th or 7th small group. And y'all know when you first join a small group and you have to show up for the first time. And again, like I am 100% extroverted, but even for the best of us, like
Yeah.
it's hard to show up to
Yeah.
somebody's house with
Right.
all strangers
Right.
and tell them about yourself and then go deep in Bible. It's just a lot. So I'd gone to the 6th or 7th one and I left and I called my sister and I was just like, they're just not my people. Like I can just tell. And I felt like at the end of my rope there. And I remember coming back to my apartment, I put on some worship music and I got on my knees and I just started writing. And what I ended up doing was I ended up confessing basically like every sin that I had committed or had been committed against me for the past probably 6 to 8 years. Really, like I was going
Yeah.
back into like early high school.
Okay.
And I wrote it all down and I'm just like crying. And I just remember the only way I can put it is that Jesus totally captured my heart. Like there was just a moment that I remember. And now it was a windy road of healing from there, but that was like the
Like, you
moment
knew
I
that.
remember I will never be the same. Like
Yeah.
I have tasted the world. It has led me to shame, brokenness, and loneliness. And I know that there's no other direction I'm going to run except in the direction of Jesus from now until the end of my days. And that's what it's been. Like even in hard seasons, like nothing will compare to that. I mean, of course stuff can, but like so far I go back to how dark that felt and where God met me. And I'm like, okay, like that is
Yeah.
still, I would choose nothing else. You know,
Right.
Peter says it like, where else would we go?
Right.
And
Right.
that was really like my where else would I go moment.
And so did you just like up and leave your job, or you,
Great question. No, I stayed. And
because your job was going okay? Yeah, because you're in sales.
I was
so
doing
you
it. I
have
was
to
in
be.
sales, but you know, I'm this like bippity boppity blonde 22-year-old waltzing into these. My customers were these international financial institutions, and I'm selling them software. So I'm meeting with the head of IT
nice.
at
Yeah.
financial institutions. So like, you know,
Nothing.
and
that
here I
you-
am. I'm trying to sell them $1 million worth of software, and they're just looking at me like they would all be like, "Oh,
Like,
my
you're so
daughter's
cute."
your age."
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
And I just knew it. I
Welcome
could
to
just
business and
yeah. I could just feel like I was a square peg in a round
Yeah.
hole. I had been bred into the business world. My mom was an executive and then a business owner, and my dad was a stay-at-home dad and then on the school board. And so growing up, it was always like, you're going to follow in your mom's footsteps.
Yeah.
I just like knew I would be in business, the whole thing. And so then I think once I got in it, I was like, is this like what it is?
Is it?
Because I don't
Right.
feel like this is like making me come alive. And I don't think they're coming alive by me being in this position. And,
that's so.
but I had this thing in my head that I had to stay for 2 years or I would be a failure. Because again, being a 3 on the Enneagram, our biggest fear is failure. And so I stayed out of obligation to my flesh. And, but the whole time I was like, what am I going to do? I want to do something more fulfilling. And so I was like, you know what? I'll go be a teacher. Because that will fulfill.
Yes.
And so I went through the process of applying for Teach for America,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, yeah.
teaching if you're a non-education major. And I got accepted into that. So then at just about the 2-year mark, I moved back to Jacksonville with plans to become a teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And?
And I did. In that time period, I had 6 months before my teaching job started, and I was supposed to move to North Carolina. And I reconnected with my now husband. We had been friends in high school. He had a great community of friends at
So he's
1122.
from here?
He's from here. Yeah, we
Oh,
actually
I
met
didn't know
in
that.
youth group.
Oh, I
we were
didn't know
friends
that.
for 1 year in high school.
Okay.
And then we never spoke again for 8 years. I had no idea what happened to him. And then we reconnected. We ran into each other at 1122. And so I had 6 months before my teaching job started. And I was like, well, I need to make money. Those sales commission checks are only going to last so long. And I moved back in with my parents, which I was like, this is so embarrassing. Again, like always striving for success and wanting everybody to think like I've made it. I'm moving back in with my parents. I worked at Starbucks. I was a dog walker, an Uber driver. I taught Zumba, and I served at the church.
Huh.
And
You were busy, at least.
I was definitely busy. And while I was serving at 1122, they kept saying like, you're going to come work at 1122. I was like, there's no way. I'm not called to ministry.
Right.
Like I am called to the secular world. That's what I would always say. And so that ended. I taught 9th grade English for 1 year. And at the end of that year, a woman called me from staff at 1122 and was like, how's teaching going? I was like, honestly, it's pretty terrible. Like, I love my kids and I love English, but the system is so broken. And I was teaching on the west side of Jacksonville in a Title I school. And it was just really hard. Like, the kids, there's a lot stacked against them. And anyway, I was like, it's pretty terrible. She's like, you want to come work at the church? And I was like, no, absolutely not. She's like, well, will you at least have coffee with the pastor? So I said, sure. We got coffee. I called my husband, who was my fiance at the time then. And I was like, I think I'm going to go work on staff at 1122.
Wow.
And
like one coffee.
One coffee. And
Because they said, you know, I know you're calling.
You know what he did tell me? It was Ryan Stone, who
right.
y'all know. He had been my youth pastor. And so we already had a relationship. Yes. And he told me, like, I'm not the Holy Spirit, but I think the Holy Spirit has told me that you're supposed to come work at the church. Which, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah, exactly.
But God had been wooing my heart into ministry from my time in New York. I was a part of Hillsong Church up there. Mm-hmm. I'd gone to a Hillsong conference, and I had listened to this woman on a panel, and she was the head of creative for Hillsong Global. And she was talking about her job, and I just remember being like, that's a job? Like
you can get
I want that job. Right. And then that got stored somewhere in the back of my brain. And then, full circle, like on a different scale, but I essentially do that woman's job now, which is so wild that God planted that seed then. But God was wooing my heart into ministry, and teaching was one step in that direction. Like, I couldn't go from corporate, like all business minded straight into ministry. Like for me, that was too big of a jump, I think. And so I think teaching was a stepping stone to get me used to pay and
oh, that's what that is.
And,
oh, we really work for free. I didn't realize that's how it works.
That's right.
Oh.
And then just kind of wooing my heart into ministry. Yeah.
So what did your fiance say when you called and said, I think I'm going to take the job at the church?
Wes is the constant to my chaos. He is extremely logical, very grounded, and he was basically like, as long as you don't make less than you do as a teacher, I think we can
make it. Yeah.
I feel like he saw it before I did. I feel like he was just like, this makes sense. Mm-hmm. I think the role I was taking didn't make sense.
Yeah, what did you start doing?
Guys, this is crazy. I took an administrative assistant position to a campus pastor, which I have like the utmost respect for administrative assistants, especially having been one now.
Yeah.
But like this caused, earthquakes in my family. Like my mom called Pastor Joby and was like, surely my daughter is not going to take an assistant position at the Church of 1122.
She has a business degree from Clemson.
Right. She's been in New York.
She's supposed to like take my business over. So like it's one thing trying to like swallow the pill, but like, it was just, it was a really...
What was your mom's business then?
She was an executive search recruiter.
Oh, that's right.
For medical device and biotech companies.
Yeah.
So she was an executive for a medical device company for many, many years, and then ended up being in executive search.
I knew her back at PSS.
Oh, no way.
I know.
She calls those her dark days.
Yes,
so whatever you knew of her,
she does.
She doesn't want to own up to that.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
So it was just like, and even for me, I couldn't believe that I was really doing that. And it was the sweetest season. God hid me in ministry for 2 years. I did that role where I had no voice, no seat at a table, no space for my opinions. And I got to fail forward in ministry hidden.
Yeah.
And people with platforms that grow really fast and they are publicly failing forward, it can be really detrimental and really hard on them and their personal lives. And I just feel like God really protected me in that season. I was definitely a bit of a recovering feminist coming out of also just thinking how I was raised. I was raised with like, you shatter every glass ceiling, you launch off of every sticky floor.
Your mom was a tough cookie.
She's a very tough cookie.
Yeah.
And like, I was just bred that like nothing is out of your reach. You can achieve what you need to achieve and be like, you can, and I had to unlearn a little bit or I had to more like shape that.
And sort of own what made sense for you.
Yeah, right, and what that looks like in ministry, which looks really different. And And so it was really hard being in a support role like that when my personality wanted to like buck at every turn. And anyways, and I did that for 2 years and I was really content to do it. And then at the end of the 2 years, I got asked to be in another role, and I've been doing that role now for 6 years. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But here we are.
So you just made the leap from what you were doing to there.
Yeah.
What
you're
is
doing
your
now.
current role? What is it
So
called?
my current role is called Service Programming Director, and I help plan sermon series and weekend services at the Church of 1122. So I kind of work with our creative team and our leadership team and make all the pieces fit together and make sure we're all going in the same direction at the same time. And it's so funny
Which it
because
does seamlessly from our perspective.
Well, thank you. I will say, like, everything I learned as a marketing major, I use every single day. It's the craziest thing. My presenting skills. I mean, I am presenting and representing information almost every day. And it's cool to see how God doesn't waste anything, right? Like, even the seasons where I'm like, well, did I just get this marketing degree for no reason if I'm just going to go into ministry? And he's like, no, I haven't wasted anything. And I truly use all of that. Honestly, more than I did in sales.
Business. Yeah. I want to get into joy in a minute, but before we get there, talk a little bit about podcast. Like, how did you get into that? How's that going?
It's going good. I call myself an accidental podcaster.
That's what we should be. We can be misfitly accidental.
So when we launched Pastor Joby's podcast, which is now called the Deep In Podcast, but it wasn't called that at first, it's just crazy how things happen. But basically, we were launching a podcast that was in line with our Song of Solomon series on relationships. And 2 days before we had this creative planning meeting for it, I gave announcements in an all-staff meeting. And Pastor Joby and Pastor Britt were on stage, and I was giving the announcements, and they were just feeling cheeky that day. And so they were kind of like making fun of me, and I was bantering back and forth with them. And it was fun, thought nothing of it. And then 2 days later, we're in this meeting talking about this podcast that we're going to start. And we're like, well, who's going to host it?
Yeah.
And Pastor Joby's like, I think Allie should. She did good giving the announcements on stage 2 days ago. And I was like,
check that box.
Wait, what? Like, I have no communication at the time. Now I can see how God was preparing me for this, but at the time I'm like, I have no communication experience. I have never hosted a podcast, none of that. And so, we did it. And the first episode, I was so sick, you guys. I was 7 weeks pregnant and nobody knew. I was so sick. And, but we did the podcast episode and I just knew two things were true. I was equally so scared and praying, Lord, if you do not say words out of my mouth for me, I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah. And I had never felt more comfortable in a calling. Like I was just like, oh,
like
this was the first time. Like I think I'm like made for this. So then Pastor Joby asked. Then we were like, okay, we're going to keep this going. He asked me to host it, and it was with Charles Martin at the time. And Charles, just after we would record, he would just look me in the eyes. And if you've ever had a conversation with Charles Martin, he just like looks into your soul and says stuff that you're like, I'm pretty sure that was the Holy Spirit. And he just spoke right to my soul and was like, you have a gift. Like something is different when that microphone gets turned on. You have a gift. And if you do not use it, you will be disobedient. Which I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. When he says it in that voice.
The voice, I know.
Right.
But like I had just had a baby. I had a full-time job. Like I was like, okay, yeah, I'm hosting Pastor Joby's.
I'm doing it.
That's what we're doing.
This is right. That's what I would have said.
And so then a few months later, I was like, I should probably get some professional training in podcasting because I still have no idea what I'm doing. So I asked Pastor Joby, is there anybody that I could go just shadow for a couple days and learn about interview skills and how they set up all
we
the
should
stuff?
do that.
Yeah. Careful, because, well, you already have your podcast, so, but, and so he connected me with Jamie Ivey. She used to have a podcast called The Happy Hour.
Oh, I heard
Jamie
your
Ivey.
interview with her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I haven't had her on.
No, who's the lady you interviewed that you were driving in the car with?
I was driving in the car. Oh, Angie Elkins.
Angie Elkins.
Yes. Okay. So for Jamie Ivey, yes, we worked together. And so they were launching this internship. It was 5 hours a week, remote, to learn about podcasting. So I was like, great. It was 3 months, I think. So for 3 months, I literally learned how to have my own podcast. And I kept telling them, guys, I don't have a podcast. I don't want a podcast. I just want to be a better host of the podcast I currently am hosting, which is my pastor's podcast. No, like, you still need to learn. I'm like, I don't need to learn all this stuff. I came back from that, and all of a sudden I just felt like this nudge of like, I think I'm supposed to start a podcast. And I am, see all previous comments. Like, I jump at a chance to do a new project, new thing, whatever. And I was like, I need to slow my roll and really pray about this and consider it. So I prayed for 9 months. Every week at church, I went to the altar and I asked God, please release me from this assignment. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't have time to do this. I don't really
I'm a new mom.
want to be a podcaster. Yeah. I was pregnant with our second baby at this point. Like, life did not make sense for this. And every time I went to the altar, like, I wasn't released. And I think my biggest fear was like, I don't want to make something about myself, because I know that I have a tendency to do that. And starting my own podcast felt like a step in the direction of me, which God quickly showed me, like, it doesn't have to be. And at the end of 9 months of praying, I'll never forget, I was at the altar and I'm like, God, please release me. I had asked him now, I don't know, 1,000,000 times. And I just felt him be like, when will you stop using prayer as an excuse to do the thing that I'm calling you to do?
Yeah.
And I got up and I was like, I'm starting the podcast. And so then, prayed about what it would look like and all that. Launched the podcast 1 month before having our second baby. Big mistake. So chaotic. The first month, y'all know, I'm like uploading an episode on breastfeeding. It's like midnight. Wes is trying to get the episode on YouTube. I mean, it was so chaotic. And so it's been 2.5 years since then. And it's going really good. Like, I honestly can't believe it. I can't believe people actually listen. And
We say that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I can't believe people actually listen
That's
to
crazy.
us. But we're funny, and we can be funny.
Yeah.
But
It's therapeutic for us. We always
is,
say
yeah.
it's.
Well, half the
It
time
is
the
the-
conversations are, I'm like, if that was just for me, honestly.
yeah,
that's
exactly.
exactly
That's
where
what
it
we.
is.
I think that's where we are.
Yeah.
I think that's what took the selfishness out of it
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
is that I realized if we never even posted,
Yeah.
it forces us to
study.
be in community together,
for
and
sure.
to study and to be mat carriers and
Right.
to talk about on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's more therapeutic for me than anything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the lies, and I think women in business, because a lot of times it's women with strong personalities who maybe at some point in their life have been told you're too much for this room and that room. And I think we build this awareness of how we're perceived. And that's not a bad thing. It can easily become a bad thing, because if it's all that you think about all the time is how people are perceiving you. But one thing God taught me was, I have wired you uniquely to be you. Loud, raspy, bold, and all.
Yeah.
And what the enemy was trying to do was to stifle how God has created me. And I was believing that lie of like, no, I'm going to make it about myself. And I just felt the Lord be like, no, like, lean into your personality and how I've made you to point people to me. Like, there is a way to do both.
Right.
And I think I was just so afraid of making it about myself. And I feel like he was just kind of like, no, remember, like, I'm God of the universe.
Right.
And
That's
you just
so good.
acknowledging
You're
the
so
awareness
lucky
of that.
like that happened to you young.
Yeah.
I mean, you're young.
Yeah, thank
Right.
you.
I mean, that's a very cool place to be, because
Yeah.
it took me a lot of Chuck Coker time to get to where, like, just own it.
Yeah, right.
Just walk in it.
Yeah.
God created you. Walk in it.
Yep.
Walk worthy of that. And so,
Well, mine, it took me education. Like,
Yeah.
I had to go back to school, wrote a thesis on women of the Bible, because I was like, wait a minute. Like, I had not seen women. I came from a little tiny town, little tiny Baptist church. Like, women just didn't. We didn't do corporate America. We
Right.
didn't do big
Right.
jobs. We didn't do.
Yeah.
We were stay-at-home moms, and we were happy to be that. So I ended up having to go, in my thesis was women of the Bible. Then I went on, it wasn't enough. I couldn't quite figure it out yet. So then I went and got a doctorate. My dissertation was on women and work in the Bible. Like, I kept filling,
Yeah.
I kept doing it through, I knew the biblical side and I knew the way God wired me, and I was like, like,
But they were still separate.
you know, right? It was
Yeah.
like I
I do
still
this
had
Monday
that. I
through
grew
Friday.
up, and you know, it was more. It felt more spiritual to be a stay-at-home mom that just was quiet and submissive, and that wasn't me. And I was like, how do I reconcile that
can't
theological
tell
belief
you.
that I grew up
Yeah.
with, and then the way God wired me? So I had to do mine educationally before I
I
figured it
can't
out.
tell you the years that I walked in like I can't be the woman that I'm being preached about because like Rodney lets me lead a lot.
Right.
Right? I mean, so like is that bad? Like I was preached to that was bad, right? Because I wasn't letting him lead. And so anyway, it took us a long time to get like, no, God created us like this. We might not look like exactly every couple, but you know, he's got his gifting, I've got mine gifting, and 1 + 1 = 3 kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to own that. So you
Yeah.
should be really proud of yourself for
Well, yeah. I
getting
mean,
there
Yeah,
faster.
yeah,
and
a
being
lot of
able
pruning
to
seasons.
articulate it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Rooted in joy, girl.
So joy.
Joy.
Tell us what you think about joy. How do you perceive joy? What are some of your lessons that you would say about joy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, which I'm sure y'all talked about this in your lesson episode, but joy is a choice a lot of times, but like that's kind of cheesy to say. You know, there's like mugs that say choose joy and sweatshirts and stuff. But I don't know, like I my bend is idealism, rose-colored glasses, like however you want to say it. I am like, oh no, it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
Pollyanna.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if it's just like the way I was raised was you just kind of like get over it and move on kind of thing. We weren't wallowers.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
We just were like, okay, that was hard. That was bad. And let's move on. Now, maybe to a fault, like maybe there's some we could have like, you know, leaned in a little more when things were hard and acknowledged things were hard. But overall, like I think we were just a family that generally carried that. So I think I had a baseline. Let me also say this. One of the questions I get asked a lot is like, how are you so confident? And I think joy is really closely tied to
Yes.
confidence as well. And one of the things I always say, and this is not everything, so if this isn't your experience, it's not like all is lost, but one of the things I always say is I had a dad who spoke life over me. I think it can't be emphasized enough, the power of the words of a father over their kids, especially in girls. Like, you are beautiful and valuable, and you deserve to experience love and value. I think that created a foundation where I felt like, well, I have this backing, so I can do anything, which
Right.
then led to me trusting that I knew a heavenly father who
Right.
had that backing. And I think that helped a lot too, of just like, I feel like I can live with this perspective on life that like it's all going to be okay because I know I have a father who loves me and sees me and calls
Right.
me valuable.
Right.
And then I think, as backwards as it sounds, but if you've been through a hard season, like, you know it too, but when you experience the dark nights of the soul and you know what those hard seasons are like, you just carry yourself a little bit differently after. And I felt like I came out of that season a warrior. Like, no longer did I have any question of who I was and who my God was. And therefore, like, life was just sweeter and joy was easier. Not all the time, but just clearer. Like, because I had experienced such loneliness and darkness that then, like, I actually knew what joy was, you know?
Right.
And we see joy and suffering. I mean, in the Bible, like, joy and suffering is very closely tied.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can separate the two, really. Yeah.
I always go at it from the perspective, I'm sure it's my competitive side, so I'm super competitive. But I always say, I mean, you'll hear me say it 100 times over, we win in the end. And I'm like, so how can I not be joyful? We win. So no matter how bad it is or whatever is happening, and things happen and things are bad, but I live with this eternal perspective of, but we win. So like when we know we win, it helps me just walk a life of joy because we win. Like, how can you not? And so I think that's my competitiveness, as you were saying it, like yours, you know.
Well, and I think we talked a lot about in our lesson, like it is it is a fruit of the Spirit, right? It is a God-given, like it's what comes out of you if it's what's inside you, and knowing that, you know, I have the Holy Spirit, and that's what should come out of you. We talked about it when we talked about wisdom too. It's like that. You have to ask for wisdom, and you know, and then you're able to get it. And I think joy is similar in that, you know, we exude joy all the time.
Of
because we
course.
win in the end.
Right.
But I mean, it is like a basis of your soul if you're in Christ, I think.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's really important because while I think there is a choice to walk in joy, you really can't do it if you're not in an abiding relationship with Jesus. So like the choice is not there if you're not tied to the vine.
Exactly.
And then I think equally effective is to be able to name and identify the things that rob joy. And I think just like as women, we have some pitfalls that can really easily make us be robbed of joy. Comparison, if you're constantly thinking about the rooms you're not in instead of the rooms you are in, if you're constantly thinking about the group texts you're not in instead of the group texts you are in, like there's just a lot with like women that I think we can easily be robbed of the joy.
And we're competitive with each other.
We absolutely are. And somewhere
that
along the line, like that got worked out. I mean, I don't know if it was like playing competitive soccer where like being on a team and having to kind of like recognize like you're just a part of the whole. I don't know what it is, but like somewhere along the line, like I just lost the jealousy factor of like those friends are doing something and I wasn't invited. And honestly, I'm just the kind of person now, like I have no time for that. Like if someone's like, oh, I wasn't invited, I'm like, honestly, do not think twice about it. Right?
Like, I didn't have the time anyways. But
I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely get like FOMO if I can't go to something that I was invited to, like that's a different thing. But I just think we have a lot of traps. Like you'll hear about like scrolling on social media. Like if someone has something you don't, or someone gets a job promotion that you didn't get. And these are all traps laid by the enemy to rob us of joy. And when we can name those and be aware of them, we can more easily avoid them.
And I think we do this as working women. Like, it's okay. It's all going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. And I think we do say that to each other. And so when it's not, and you feel like it's not, we don't necessarily talk about it that way, right? And so it is, I mean, it robs us of the gift of friendship and community that we could have that would bring us joy.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think as you were saying it, I never thought of like, I was in my mind, like, I wonder what steals my joy. Is it comparison? I think mine is not living in the moment. Like I'm such a goal setter.
That's a good one,
Visionary, so I am constantly 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And then I'll miss the day. And then you're like, oh, I just missed the day. This was a great day and I missed it because I am always 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So as you were saying it, I was like, I wonder what my joy sucker. That's not a word. Sucks the joy out of it.
I think you can say that.
Sucker. I'm a joy sucker. So I think my joy sucker is I don't enjoy the moment. Like I've got to do a better job of enjoying the moment.
I think that's a really good point is, and Pastor Joby taught me this, like you have to know what like your bucket fillers are.
Yeah.
Because especially as working women, especially as working moms, like so many things are pulling for our attentions and our energies. And if you're not intentional, I was just talking to a friend about this. I was like, you know what? Because we're both just like, we're tired. Life, like our kids are sick. There's just like a lot of life happening. Yeah. And I was like, you know what we haven't done in a while? A girls' night out where we have like a cleansing laugh.
Yeah.
Because that brings us both so much joy.
Right.
And I think recognizing or my husband and I, like we know that an activity outside together as a family brings us joy. It's a bucket filler for us. If we go a certain period of time without that, we can feel it.
Yeah.
And so being able to recognize what are your joy suckers and what are
Yeah.
your joy fillers.
Right.
And making sure you're living in rhythm. You can't be all joy all the
No,
time.
right.
That's an
Exactly,
impossible
exactly.
thing
Right,
to
right.
achieve.
Then you're fake.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's then you're not being,
That's
genuine. So, but I do think it's like, I think as women, that's what we don't do is the little extra, take the time to like we don't build enough margin in our
I
life
was
to
just gonna
say,
say.
what is my joy filler? And to, just being able to stop and talk to somebody, for 2 extra minutes, I gotta go. I'm late for a meeting or whatever.
And as a mom and as a
And as a
business
mom,
owner and
right.
a boss and all that, we're constantly worrying about everybody else.
Right.
What do the kids
Yeah.
have? What do we need for the husband? What do we got to get for
Right.
dinner? What do I got to get for the boss? Oh, we don't have enough
Right.
money to cover payroll. I mean, all the stuff we talk about.
Yes.
By the time that all happens at the end of the day, you don't have
Yeah.
time to think, what are my joy fillers or
right.
joy suckers? I'm
Yeah.
just sucked. So
Mine
I'm
is
just
like
dead.
I'm
You
a
know?
1 on the Enneagram, so I'm
Yeah.
a perfectionist. So it's like 95% okay is not good. Like that's not perfect, right? So I have a tendency to go, well, I can't do it if it's not going to be perfect, right? So I think we
You're
do that
one?
to ourselves.
Did we
I'm a
know that I
1.
know that? Yeah.
What are you?
we know. I'm an 8.
Okay.
Definitely an 8.
Oh, we
Yeah.
are hitting. I mean, we
We
hit
hit
the
all
3
three,
main,
Right.
like
Yeah.
big boss women
Right,
personalities.
That's what I was going to say.
Exactly.
I was thinking you were an 8, but then we
We're
did talk about it.
covered
You're
here.
a 1. My daughter's a 3, so we always laugh
Yeah.
because she's the 3. I'm the 8.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What wing are you?
I'm a pretty balanced 3. For a while, I was like, I think I'm a 3-wing 4. But the more I don't know, maybe after becoming a mom too, I feel
Right,
like, I mean,
it
I definitely
changes.
have some 2 in me. But I'm just like pretty much a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty
I'm
through and
I'm
through.
that.
You're pretty much a 1 too.
I'm
Yeah, 'cause
pretty
you're
much a
definitely
1.
not a 1-9 because 9
No.
like the peacemaker.
No.
Not that
No,
you're
no.
not a peacemaker,
No, I'm
but
not
like
a peacemaker.
She said, no, I'm not a peacemaker.
not that.
There isn't anyone
Peace, no.
that knows me that would say that. So
Do you have a
probably-
wing?
I'm a wing 7. I'm a
Okay.
strong wing 7.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm
you're
definitely
fun, yeah.
8 wing 7.
Yeah, she's like an adventurer. She's
Yeah.
fun.
Okay, fun. Yeah.
She
Definitely
thinks this
we-
whole like, oh, you know what? We're gonna move and we're moving on Friday, and we have no furniture, and the lady wants it fully
So
furnished.
fun!
It's like an
Like I'm
adventure.
gonna move into an apartment I've never seen with furniture I've never seen, and it's
I'm
just
like,
gonna be there.
I'm gonna shoot myself.
Oh, as a 1. No, that's her nightmare.
Oh my god,
Stresses her out. I'm
I,
like, oh, that's
I
so
lost
fun.
sleep on it this
I know.
weekend. I'm like,
For her.
I'm like,
Empathy
I'm like,
sleep.
I gotta help Tammy with this. I don't know how am I gonna make that right. I don't.
I'm, like, taking pictures.
she doesn't have a bed frame. Like what?
don't have a
How
bed
can I? I mean,
We're gonna sleep on the mattress. We have an air mattress. We're good.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh,
God.
that's
We are
too
definitely-
funny.
yeah.
Yes, you are an
Definitely 8,
adventure.
7. I'm good
We're
with
gonna
that.
have joy through it all.
Yep.
But that's fun to
through it all.
watch.
Joy through it all.
That's right. Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, so
Have you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Season 3, episode 3, right? That's
Season 3, episode 3. Yeah. I know. It's a big deal.
perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Till next time.
Bye.